Hello, everybody. So, obviously, I'm French, but I live in Texas. So, it's not a Texas accent from Texas you're going to listen, but you're going to hear about the French one. So, like, is it moving? Yeah. Like Michel was saying, Gemalto, we are doing business over 108 countries, 80 countries. When I started to put in place a program on personal data protection, you can imagine 180 countries, there's a lot of personal data law and regulation applicable. So we decided to apply the most stringent regulation right now in the world, which is the General Data Protection Regulation, European one, GDPR. Basically, the idea was to say, okay, if we are compliant, our best practice is based on GDPR, we're going to be compliant with any other regulation and law, personal data protection law in the world. Okay, so that was the idea. What all the program is based on the GDPR. So we started, and the idea, because we are a B2B company, we started by thinking about when we're creating a product. I'm using product which Gemalto is offering solution, services, and products. So, but I'm going to be using the definition of product to cover everything, the three cases. So, the best practice is applicable to the full Gemalto group, okay, anywhere in the world. Okay, so we started from the birth of a product. What do we have to do when we're creating a product? What we're thinking about. And then, obviously, we're processing data in our activity. Then, are we processing also personal data? Okay. And when I'm saying what type of data do we process, does a product is processing personal data? And then, on step 5, when I have, based on all the data I had already, I identify the working group within Gemalto to work with, meaning people from R&D, people from support, business people, and security people. So it was a group of people who were around, depending between 15 and 20 people, and with regular meeting over the phone and putting in place the full program, which you're going to see. So we look after, based on that, we look at the impact on each business organization. So the product manager that are the people thinking about the product. Okay, so already they have to think about privacy by design and the right of individuals. As you know, it's the same in Australia, it's the same in New Zealand. Individuals have right to access the data, so they can come back to you and say, what do you have on me? And they can say, please make this modification, or stop using this data, et cetera, et cetera. So they have some right, and under the regulations, the GDPR, there is also right of portability and the right to be forgotten. Okay. Then the product manager, they say, okay, that's a product we want, and they're moving to the project is moving to R&D organization. Okay, so here we have drafted what we call the Gemalto Personal Data Protection Policy. You will see the acronym for the rest of the document, GPDPP. This defines privacy by design, right of individuals. So at the start of designing the product, we're already putting in place the script to do that. Evidences, we have a table to show that we did it for each product, and data retention, okay? So, and also you see privacy impact assessment. We have a specific one in case we have to make a decision, do we do this for this product or not? We have to do a privacy impact assessment to assess the risk, which involves different people, not only one person, including the legal department. Then we created a personal data classification policy. So basically what we did, we started from what kind of data, personal data Gemalto is using. And we have a long list, and from that, we're defining a level of security, which is going to high, medium, and low. You can imagine if we are processing banking data, health data, it's high level. And from there, the security department they have defined the type of security we're going to apply. So like Graham was saying, you can be sure for data, banking data, we're going to use a lot of encryption, and the data will be encrypted. And also when we are sending the data, they are transferring, everything is encrypted, okay, in a secure channel. So, and we have also drafted the data retention policy. We are explaining to our customer, okay, your data, we're going to be using the data for the following purpose, and we're going to keep the data for this purpose, for this period of time. And so this is explained each in our contract. Next one. So business organization. After R&D, we are moving to the sales organization when we are putting the product on the market. So already at the commercial proposal, we are making sure that the product we are offering to the customer is compliant with our general data protection policy. And or if it's not fully compliant, we did an assessment, so the privacy impact assessment. And all commercial proposals include the data processing terms. If you go on the website gemalto.com, you go at the bottom on the left, there is a data privacy tab. You click it and you will have access to all the documents we have, and you will see data processing term for cloud services, for support services, and so you can look at it. So inside you're going to find what we do, the way we're organized to process the data, our security principle, Schedule 1. Schedule 2, it's the data processing form, which is a transparency. We're explaining what type of data we're using, we're processing, and for the purpose and the way of transferring the data, what we're expecting from the customer, all the recommendations. And the 30 engagement, you're not going to see them now. They're going to be published in December. I'm waiting for the CEO to tell me, okay, do it, which is basically our commitment to the customer saying, with your data, we're implementing the following process. Keep going. Then we're going to, when we have a customer and we sign a contract, before we sign a contract already, we're working with a delivery organization. Okay, so delivery organizations, they are going to help us, the legal department, complete the data processing form, telling us we'll be using the following data center, okay, because we have data center all in different countries. The right of data subject has to be ready to be addressed. So we have a system. Maybe it can be manually or the script, the system is already exists, is automatic. And the retention policy also is implemented, and we know when do we have to get eliminate the data or return the data to the customer. The legal department, then we have negotiation, we enter into the negotiation of the contract. So I drafted what you can see a personal data protection contractual step. It should be S because there's many. Explaining to each legal counsel what do they have to do in terms of personal data protection. So who do they have to talk to internally? Mainly the product managers, the delivery people, and what they can expect working on the data processing terms. What do they have to understand about this? Fully completed the data processing form, customer information form, and we're explaining also to the customer that as part of the contract, the people exchanging with us, their employees and our employee, we will be exchanging our contact information, which is personal data, and this would be used for the managing of the contract, nothing else. And we have also a privacy impact assessment in case the negotiation is difficult and we end up into a situation where personal data protection will be affected. The decision does not belong to one business people, it's a collective decision. So we open a privacy impact assessment and we evaluate the risk to see if we can do it or not, and the risk for the company. And obviously after we store the contract. So again, and after we are to so the contract is signed, we are moving to the support organization. So they have support organization, they're gonna identify where the data are located, the database, where the database is located, and the type of security around the database or in the database to protect the data. There are also implementation of the right of the data subject. So if a customer is asking us, because we cannot do it, I mean, we are not talking, we have no relationship with the end user individuals. So a customer can come back to us, say, please make this modification because an individual is raising some question. He wants to access his data or he wants to remove the following data. So in this case, the customers have to open a ticket, like a support ticket. They're telling us what to do and we do it. Okay, it can be manual or it can be automatic. Also, implementation of the data retention. The support organization is going to take care of this. When they have to get rid of the data, eliminate the data, they do it based on our policy. And we have web portals, and each web portal now there is a data processing terms showing, and anyone creating credential, opening, asking for credential to access the web portal, they have access to a data privacy terms where they can see what we do with the data, where they are located, how long we're going to keep the data, the right of individuals. They can ask us to remove the data, modify the data. And all of this, there is an evidence of how we have everything is done, is recorded. So now we're going to the bad situation in case of data breach. So if we're facing a data breach, okay, we're doing, there's an investigation which is going to be done by the Computer Security Incident Response Team, the CIRST. They're going to do that. And then for the lawyer, we have drafted a data breach playbook. So explaining step by step what do they have to do. For example, they have to look at the contract, look at the section of the contract, what we have to do. We have to inform our customer. How do we do this? It's specifying a contract. Do we have to, so we wait after for the customer to tell us what to do. Do we have to involve police, FBI, any, police or criminal, any police organization like this? And we have also per country, we have outside counsel supporting us. So for each country, basically we have one specific outside counsel for the US and a big law firm. And after we have for Europe, Asia, the rest of the world, basically we have DLA Piper supporting us in case there is a breach. And so in each country we have lawyer, we have the phone number at least of 2 lawyers, contact information, and we can pick up the phone and call them anytime. And they will support us, guide us on a per country basis what we have to do. For example, do we have to report to, like Graham was saying, to the authority in New Zealand or Australia or in Europe? They're going to help us on this. Also, GDPR is the same also in Australia, I think. You can have government authority who can come and perform some audit. Okay, each of the 28 countries in Europe, they have a government authority that can, data protection authority. They can come and they can perform an audit. They say, show me what you have, what are you doing? And we have created a table of evidence with a link, electronic link to everything we have done and access to the documentation, evidences of what we have for each product, each solution product, et cetera, et cetera. So they're going to be able to see privacy by design was implemented, retention, right of individuals, so on a per product basis. We also, internally, we have dedicated website, intranet website, dedicated to all documentation policy on our personal data protection program. So now above this, above the B2B and is part of it, what we put in place personal data protection code of conduct, which means anyone within which is related to the B2B. So meaning anyone dealing with personal data will have to comply with the code of conduct. So it will be published in December, translated in all the language, meaning 7 languages for Gemalto, and it would be applicable to all employees dealing with customer personal data. We have a training course to support the code of conduct. So it will start also in 2018. It would be mandatory. So any employees dealing with personal data would have to go through this. It's a 20-minute class course with, at the end, there is 10 questions, and they have to pass 8 questions to pass, 8 positive answers to pass. Internal control, so we put in place a specific Q&A on the personal data protection. So it will be on a per organization basis. They will have to reply to some specific question, and based on this, we will be able to evaluate the implementation of our program. We have Q&A to vet all the supplier providing service on personal data. So we do not sign any contract before we see what they have. So basically, it's a bunch of questions. You have to score minimum 10, max is 20. If you are within 10, we can start working with you. And the year after, you will have to go through this to improve your score. If you're below that, for sure, we're not going to sign a contract. And we have the mapping. So mapping a data center. So basically, it's knowing where our data center are located. But most important, when we're talking about mapping, and Graham is going to pick on this, we need to understand where the database with the personal data, where they're located, and how do we protect this? So encryption, secure channel to transfer the data, and also authentication. Who is going to have access to the data? And we need all of this. So Graham is going to talk about the product for that. Data privacy champion, meaning we have created for each legal department, within the legal department, we organize Gemalto in business units. So each business unit, there's a legal department. So they have to appoint a data privacy champion. They would be in charge within the business unit to support the full program on data protection. So they are the guy or the woman bringing the supporting the program, data protection program, within their business organization. And with them, they have the data privacy owners per group function also, where the people we're going to get some information from the data privacy champion. Please do this, new implementation, the program is changing, we have to do this and that. So they will be the people, employees, spreading the message within their own group functions. And so we have also, in case data protection or DPA, data protection authority, is coming to do an audit, we have also explaining exactly what we have to do at the level of the lawyers, what do they have to do, the people at the entrance of premises, what do they have to do, so explaining step by step the way they have to react. And we have also, again, outside counsel supporting us for that. The CRM policy, because everybody knows there's a CRM in each company. So all of this, we have developed a very specific policy on personal data protection. And on our website, where we're getting people subscribing to a newsletter, we have also explaining what do we do with the data. Okay. And if you go again on the Gemalto website, you're going to see at the bottom, if you click on data privacy, you're going to see a lot of documents.